Welcome to this video. In our previous videos, we have created all these resources through the portal. But when you work in an enterprise environment, you will be creating all these resources using IAC. Not only that, when you work with the AA Hub, AA project, everything will be done through the code. That is what we are going to do in this particular video. So I will be using Terraform to create all these resources, and I will be using Python to create the agent. I will show you the complete execution. So now let's be Terraform. So this is the Terraform script that we'll be using. So first we are creating a resource group and log analytics. Then we have a key vault and a storage account. So why do we need a key vault and a storage account, right? So if you see here, we have a key vault and a storage account. The reason it's like whenever you create any connections or anything to do with a secret, you need to store this information in a secured environment, and that is when like we will be using the key vault. Also remember that in our previous video, I showed you uploading a file from your local machine into the AA Foundry. Where would you store this data? That is when you need a storage account. Now let's go to the code again. So we are creating a storage container. So storage container, it's not necessarily needed. It is specific to this particular use case. Now again, go to the portal. So if I just go here, I created a container called as it is, in which I uploaded the files. It is all done through a manual process, right? Means like it is like uploading these files into the container. It's a manual process. Creating the container, it's done through the Terraform. So typically, like in an enterprise environment, a Terraform will create this container, and there is going to be a data job that is going to push the data into the container. In this case, I do not have the data job to push the data, so I manually uploaded all this content, right? Now again, let's go back. So then we created a Foundry and the Foundry project. Again, if I just go back here, so I have a hub and a project, right? I have a service. So if you really want to work with any models, any LLMs, you need to have a service that needs to be connected with your Foundry, right? That's what we are doing here. Like we created a service here, and that is connected with the AI Foundry, in which we deployed two models here, right? So if I just go back here, if I come over here, I have two models are deployed, GPT-4 and text embedding. So everything is done through the Terraform. You really don't have to go anywhere and do anything. Then we created a search service, and we are giving the access as a search. So this specific role needs to be there, right? So search index a data reader. You should have it. Otherwise, you will not see the index in your search. So now then we have to connect that search with the AI Foundry. That's what we are doing here. Now let's again go back. So if we go to the management center, and if we go to the connected resources, here you will see all these are connected resources, right? So you have this storage account, you have the AI service, and you have the AI search service. So everything is connected here. Now let's go back. So with respect to the search, we have to do quite a few things. First, we have to create a data source and search index, skill set, and an indexer. So now let me again go to the portal here. So if I just come over here, first we need to create a data source. So basically what we are saying is that, remember we created a container in which we uploaded the files that needs to be connected with the search service. So you can also do it manually. You just come over here, click on this add data source, and fill up this information. But everything is done through the code. It is connected with the container that we just created, right? Then we will have a index. We just created an index. Initially it will be 0, but once the indexer runs, then initially it will be 0, but once the indexer runs, you will have the proper count here. Then we have a skill set using which we will do the index, right? Then the indexer, it's the ML job that runs and the like populates your index, right? So see if a search service works here, right? The way you do, you go to the search explorer, look for some cities. In this case, I'm looking for Paris. It is giving me the result. It is telling me that this is part of a Paris.pdf file. Now, let's again go back to the code. Now we are done with the infrastructure setup. So just to summarize, what we have done here is that we created a resource group in which we created a key vault, storage account, a Foundry project, and search service, and AA service, right? Search service and AA service are connected with the Foundry, and with respect to the search service, we created a data source index, skill set indexer. So search service is ready for us to consume. Now all we need, it's just to apply the Terraform, which I have done here. If you see here, like everything is done here. Now it's time to create the agent, right? So this is the code that I will be using to create the agent. This is the same code that we discussed many times. So what I'm saying is that I'm trying to create a AI search as my tool set, right? So all these values are coming from the env file. So if you see here, I have a env file. So all you need to do is that your secret values, you get it from the portal. Typically you will not be doing it from the portal, like rather like the Terraform will store all this information in a key vault. From a key vault you can read it, right? It depends on the pattern that you are trying to adapt. But just for a demo purposes, I'm not going to do that. Rather, like I will be manually gathering this connection information and then populate my env file. But let's say like you are using a Docker to deploy these application into the Kubernetes. So there are multiple ways, right? Again, like a project client, and then like I'm setting the search tool. Then I'm going to create a agent. So this is the function that I will be using to create a agent. What it does is that it creates the agent. Once the agent is ready, it is going to tell me it is ready. In case of any failure, it is going to tell me the agent creation is failed. That's all it does. Then I'm going to create an agent here. So if you see here, everything is same. I'm saying that you are a travel agent, use the provided knowledge to answer, and like you will be using this particular tool, search tool, right? So search tool, if you see here, there is literally nothing here. So we create a search tool definition under resource. So this is what I have done. I have created top three, and query type it's simple. Means like you can use the query type, simple or vector or semantic hybrid, anything that can be used. According to that, you have to make sure that your search service support the query type, right? In this case, just for demo purposes, I'm keeping it simple. But if you're really doing the project for your enterprise, probably like I will go with semantic search, right? So now let me go to the portal and show you like how do we test these. So if I just come over here, so here where like the agent it's created with the instruction that we provided and with the index that we provided. Now again, like if I just come over here, there is no index that you see here because like we are not creating the index as a part of a AI Foundry. Rather, like we created the index in the search, and it will be directly connected. So you will not see any index in your AI Foundry or the data files. So there is not going to be any data file because like everything is done in a different place. Like we have a dedicated storage account in which we created a container, uploaded the files, right? Now let me try to use this agent. So what I'm saying is that what are the top attraction in Paris, and if you see here, it is giving me the result. It is also giving me, it is part of a Paris.pdf. So if you click on this view running info, here where like you will see like what exactly it's done here. So just because we set a top three, it is getting all these document, Paris, New York, London. Again, depends on your use case. You will set, one, or, whatever the number that you wanted to have it, right? So now again, if you see here, like it is telling me that this is also part of the index file, right? And it is giving me this information that I wanted to have it. So now if you see here, we did not do anything through the portal. Everything is done through the code. Maybe like what we have to do is that now that we have this Python script, all we need to do is that convert the Python script into a container and deploy it somewhere, right? It can be a AKS or Azure container, any place that you wanted to have it. That way, like you really don't do anything by hand. Everything is done through the code, and then like how you can follow your CI/CD process to propagate the changes into the higher environment. That's all I have for this video. Thank you for watching.